All right, Smirnoff, official vodka of the NFL, world's #1 vodka. Chris Cote, you're with me here.
Smirnoff!
Wow, you're on the money with Smirnoff.
Smirnoff!
I'm going to ask you, Chris, what's your favorite game day food?
Smirnoff!
That's your favorite game day drink. What's your favorite game day food?
Smirnoff!
All right, here's the deal. Game day is everything. The noise, the rituals, the passion, the dip, the wings, the dip again.
Smirnoff!
Smirnoff belongs in that mix because if you're tailgating or hosting or just sitting there checking your fantasy lineup every 30 seconds, you need Smirnoff. Otherwise, it's not a real game day. They've been doing it since 1864, which is, I don't even want to do the math. It's a long time. It's like when Greg Cote was born. They're award-winning. They make cocktails super easy, and they're all about bringing fans together. So yeah, we do game days. That's their thing. And if you're over 21, you should too. Why, Chris?
Smirnoff!
Grab a bottle of
Smirnoff!
at your local retailer and head to Smirnoff.com to find recipes of delicious cocktails perfect for game day.
Smirnoff!
Please drink responsibly.
Smirnoff!
Number 21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume, the
Smirnoff!
Company. New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age.
Smirnoff!
Now's a good time to remember where tequila's story truly began. In 1795, Cuervo invented tequila.
Cuervo.
What are you doing here?
Cuervo. Anytime someone says Cuervo, I show up.
Well, I do know that to be true, but even during ad reads, like...
Cuervo.
I think you could lay out, especially for one of our great partners.
Sweet, delicious Cuervo.
Since then, Cuervo has stayed true to its roots. The same family, the same land, the same passion.
Cuervo.
So, enjoy the tequila that started it all. Cuervo.
Cuervo.
The tequila that invented tequila. Proximo. Cuervo.com. Please drink responsibly.
Cuervo.
Black Friday savings are here at the Home Depot, which means it's time to add new cordless power to your collection. Right now, when you buy a select battery kit from one of our top brands like Ryobi or Milwaukee, you'll get a select tool from that same brand for free. Click into one of our best deals of the season and stock up on tools for all your upcoming projects. Get Black Friday savings happening now at the Home Depot. Limit 1 per transaction. Exclusions apply. Full eligible tool list in-store and online.
We appear to have, on a fired-up Monday, genuine sports disagreement between Zaslow and Greg Cote. The Dolphins won. Their coach went for it on 4th and short, 4th and goal, very short, tie game. 2 minutes left in the game, went for a touchdown and failed to get the touchdown. Greg Cote, your thoughts?
It was a lame brain decision by him. We can look back on it now and retrofit it and say, he had faith in his team. They won anyway. They won. They got lucky in overtime. They won because Jack Jones had a pick and on the only terrible pass Mariota threw all day. In that situation, you go for the win. It's late in regulation. The other team has no timeouts left. You go for the 16-13 win in regulation, and that was a long 4th and 2. That was not 4th and inches.
Oh, a long 2.
That was a 4th and 2 legit. And then the play they call is their backup running back plowing right into the middle of the line and being tackled by a 5,000-pound defensive tackle.
What if it was a normal 2 yards? Not a long 2 yards.
It was a long 2 yards. That matters.
There's a such thing as a long 2, by the way, because when you look at the field, sometimes they put that ball a little bit closer to the 3-yard line than the 2-yard.
That sounds like if it's close to the 3, you round up and say it's 3, don't you? That's not a long 2 anymore. If it's closer,
a long 2.
No, I think it's a long 2 if it's right in the middle. I think if it's close to 2.5 is when it's a long 2. I think if it's over 2.5, you say it's 3.
Yeah.
Do you not?
Technically, though, it's 2 because they always go in.
Zaslow, what are your thoughts here?
I think that 2 and 3 years ago, if Mike McDaniel was doing that, we are all like, yes, he's different. Super aggressive team. He's an offensive guy. Of course he's going to go for it.
A long 2 years ago or a short 3?
That's where I thought he was going when he started 2
Good point.
A long 2 years ago. It feels like that, yes. We'd have been okay with that. But now, and look, I've done this as well, where it's the thing to do is to be super critical of everything Mike McDaniel does because the way he looks and the way he sounds, the way he talks. And now it's not so fun that he goes to that play. I think we'd have looked at it totally different a long 2 years ago.
No, I mean, in that situation, I don't care what the analytics say. I don't care what the percentages say.
Why don't you care what the analytics say and what the percentages say? Because they say you're wrong.
I know logic.
What decade are you talking? You're talking about in the 90s, your take would smack.
The game's not the same.
A long 2 decades ago.
Okay. They have a chance to take the lead late in regulation. They blow it. They get lucky in overtime. If they had lost that game in overtime, all of us, including that guy, would be vilifying.
Let the record show is pointing at me.
McDaniel right now. Vilifying McDaniel.
He did point at him with a vigorous fat sausage finger. It's been noted. The record notes.
It wasn't even a point. It was like emphasis.
Look, the Dolphins saved McDaniel from embarrassment. They saved him from himself. He made a bad decision that backfired and then got immensely lucky for it.
If Dan Campbell does it, you're like, yep, good call.
No, I don't. I go, why didn't you kick the field goal, kneecap eater?
The Lions last night went for it like 14 times, like 4th and 6. Like, they don't give a shit.
Yeah, how'd that work out for them?
Well, they got robbed. That's another story.
Yeah. I mean, are you trying to win or are you trying to be ballsy? Mike McDaniel wants to show he's got balls the size of grapefruits. So
no, he's trying to win the game.
On 4th and a long 2.
No, he's trying to win the game. He was trying to win the game.
All right, we'll continue this in a second. Settle down.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
We will get to the microscopic dissection of the end of regulation in Spain. A truly dreadful beginning to my Sunday. Just horrific football being played by both of those teams as Zaslow and Cote genuinely disagree about what Mike McDaniel did. Obviously, 2 bad football teams. How do I know? Because on 4th and short, one gets a delay of game and has to kick a field goal. And on 4th and short, another one, when it's going for it, gets a false start. And I'm like, get out of here. Yep. Send it to Spain and stay there. Just don't come back. Don't take the flight back. The best play of that game was Mariota avoiding a safety. That's the best play. That was the best play in that football game. But because we love to dissect what the coaches do, I want to examine Zaslow and Greg Cote's disagreement here, because what Mike McDaniel did in a tie game at the end of regulation, going for it, 4th and goal instead of kicking the field goal, which is basically what every coach would have done that we've ever watched, would have kicked the field goal. Only 2 since 2000 have ever done what McDaniel did. McDaniel was the second. So in 25 years, McDaniel is the first to go for it in that situation. Cote says, I don't care what the analytics say. The analytics say you get a 3.5 better percentage chance to win the game by going for the touchdown there. Because even if you fail, you're leaving them at the 1-yard line with no timeouts. It's going to be very difficult for them to get out of that situation. But the mathematics say that. The thing that I wanted to ask you guys, though, about it, because I thought the announcers were really bad at the end of that game. Really bad. First of all, they didn't talk about Chant going out of bounds at the 6-yard line, which he should not have done. Like, Chant has to stay in bounds there. Has to.
That was what was going to cost them the game.
No, but he has to know the game situation there. The announcers don't even mention it. He gets the first down, the announcers don't even mention it. But the announcers also have to know, in the modern age, that's a good assignment to get the Madrid game. A lot of money being spent to send everybody to Madrid. Those people need to know that the percentage of chance going for it is better at 3.5%. They need to tell the audience to make everyone back off. It can't just be anymore some offensive lineman in the booth saying, I think I'd show guts here and go for it. Give me what the math is.
Well, and also give me what the trend is, which is that he's only the second guy in 25 years to take that risk, that unnecessary risk.
You need the researchers to give you that information. It's why they're there. It's why they're flown to Madrid.
Well, I don't know if you could have gotten that stat right there in that spot, that it's just the second time in 25 years. But certainly the former, the percentages going forward kicking, that they probably should have had.
McDaniel knows what the percentages are. He's playing the percentages. He is a math guy. That he is absolutely doing there what is the correct play.
But it's not just the percentages there. It's, all right, and this is why I believe McDaniel made the right move, where the game is different than what it was 10 years ago. I've been talking about this recently here, where the kickers are so good these days that it's taken a lot of the excitement out of the game, where team gets the ball, a minute to go, can they drive and get to field goal range? Well, Yeah, they can. Because these guys are kicking 60-yard field goals, and it takes away a lot of the excitement. It's just 2 plays, and he's in field goal range. That's essentially what Mike McDaniel was considering yesterday. If he kicks the field goal there, and it was just under 2 minutes left, which is an eternity now in today's NFL, and the Dolphins go up 3, kick off, you get the ball at the 30, you're 30 yards away. You're 30 yards away from tying it.
Let me ask you this question, Greg, because I really do like, the advancements in football that make these coaches less coward, more math. I like what it is when I'm on offense. Almost absolutely, with very few exceptions. If I'm on offense on 4th and 2, I almost always want to go for that. And if I'm the defense, I almost always want the kicker on the field in that situation. If I'm a fan of the defensive team and the other team has the ball on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, I always want them to send if I'm on defense, I always want them to send the kicker out on the field because 1 and 2 yards, they're so precise now that they just take a tight end and they do a little play action and they just throw one of these rollout passes with such accuracy. I know a couple of 4th and shorts got stopped yesterday. I know the Lions were terrible on 4th and short. That's the best defensive game I've seen the Eagles play during the championship run. That's the worst Lions offensive game I've seen throughout their season being good. So I know when the team fails on 4th and short, it always brings this criticism. But would you agree with me that if you're a fan of the defensive team, you always want to see the kicker run out onto the field on 4th and 1 and 4th and 2?
What I agree with is that 4th and 2 means go for it most of the time, situationally, most of the time. If my own team, it's the middle of the second quarter, my team is 4th and 2 from its own 42, I'm like, yeah, go for it. In this case, you take the 3-point lead, and here's why. I don't know if you guys have noticed, Miami's defense has been pretty good the last 3 or 4 games. Pretty damn good, as it was in Madrid. If you're Mike McDaniel, you give your team a 16-13 lead, less than 2 minutes left, other team has no timeouts, and you trust your defense to not let them drive 70, 60 yards for a tying field goal. I trust my defense.
It's not
no, but it would have been 30 yards.
Why would you trust that defense?
The Dolphins' defense has been pretty good the last few games.
No, but your argument there, trust them to not allow 60 or 70 yards, is literally what Mike McDaniel did by saying, if we don't get a touchdown here, I trust my defense not to give up 60 yards and a potential game-tying kick. Now, the irony is that is exactly what happened. They ended up missing the kick. But, your argument there is literally what Mike McDaniel was banking on.
You would agree that the Dolphins got lucky with that pick on the first play of overtime.
It's a play. They made a play.
Okay, Mariota had a good game. He made his only bad play of the game to begin overtime. That's luck that bailed out
or he
Mike
was due.
McDaniel. And
by that logic.
Would you also agree that if the Dolphins end up losing that game in OT, Mike McDaniel is being vilified this morning?
Well, that I'd agree. That I'd agreed with, but fans are noisy and they are.
I'm not talking about fans. I'm talking about everybody.
They're math averse.
Greg, the thing is, every interception, every fumble, every turnover is luck, right? Just depending on if the ball's bobbled up this way, if you cut off the pass that way, if you get a hand on the football, turnovers are lucky in just the general sense.
Yeah, but this is a Dolphin defense that has had 3 interceptions all season. I mean, you don't expect that, especially out of Jack Jones, who would not be a starting cornerback on any team in the league.
Well, that's another thing. There are so many players on that field because all of these teams are broken. There's so many players on that field at this point in the season that are just practice squad elevations that happen to be wearing professional uniforms.
Yeah, that's not a real player. I mean, if you don't mind, I'd like to move away from the microanalyzation of Commanders Dolphins and talk about more interesting stuff, which is Stephen Ross talking about, the reports are Stephen Ross is looking for reasons to bring back Tua and Mike McDaniel, and you have a team that's fighting for a head coach. We thought this team was done and dusted, and yet you still don't want this quarterback speaking in front of a microphone. That's stuff.
Why does he say weird things?
He says weird things.
All right, let's play the sound of him saying that good Lord Jesus, he wants to play.
Well, that's what it's about.
That's the joke I was making. He wants to play in Jerusalem.
It's not just that.
It's a weird thing to say.
He was asked about international series, and he's like, let's go to Hawaii.
He was asked, where else should the league take games?
Well, I think he said, where else in Europe, right?
Watch, he's just asked in general. It's like a blanket statement, but then he specifies, because he says something let's listen.
Hawaii. So the United States again, but just go play in Hawaii. I think that'd be pretty cool. But in Europe, Shoot, it'd be pretty cool to go play in Jerusalem.
Not in Europe.
I don't know. That'd be sick.
Anyway, the Dolphins have the following situation. I actually understand. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but when you talk about what they're doing for next season, given the contract situation of their quarterback and given that this draft doesn't have a surefire quarterback that you want to lose for, I understand putting a bandage on it for a year and saying, McDaniel, Tua, let's see if Tyreek Hill can get some value back, and putting a bandage on it for a year because you don't actually want the leadership void of let's blow the entire thing up and start over from ground zero.
That was a good answer, though. I mean, wasn't at all worried about his brain whatsoever, hearing him speak like that and smile like that. His teeth do look great.
Zaslow is done with the unwatchability of Tua.
Dan, he's unwatchable.
The number of screen passes, the number of throw the ball backwards.
It sounds like you guys watched. I didn't, because it was Commanders Dolphins, and I've seen this Dolphin team the entire time. I just kind of want to move this thing along here. I'm a little annoyed that they won, because now you're like, oh, should we or shouldn't we? Some people, Stephen Ross being one of them. And just, come on, let's get this thing over
He got chased down by like a 350-pound lineman.
When he was all by himself, just throw the ball away.
Dude.
Here's the thing with Tua. I've never seen a more immobile quarterback. And my entire childhood was Dan Marino. Like Marino, at least he'll step up into the pocket.
Yeah,
he
had a quick step.
He avoids the sack. I mean, Marino was a statue there. Marino is more mobile than Tua was. And with Tua now,
Marino, after the Achilles tear, you have Marino being
looking
more
like
mobile
in
than
the big
Tua.
boot. Oh, the Nike Town boot.
wearing the entire leg brace. All right, looking like a robot. Marino was more mobile than Tua is. Tua now, if there's any kind of pressure coming on a play, if Tua does not find a receiver on his very first and immediate read, the play is completely screwed. He has no awareness in the pocket. He has zero ability to escape anyone, and he has zero improvisational skills. He is brutal. The fact that if a quarterback does not hit their very first option on a play, and that's what meaning that the play's screwed if he doesn't, and that's what you're relying on to win you games, it's impossible.
That was the issue with the Mike McDaniel offense, right? It was like, oh, this offense is amazing. They're scoring all these points. Everything is so fast. But they're like, oh, what if we just take away the first read? And then they just develop, oh, wait a second. Tua can't scan the field. He's too worried about getting hit. He's too worried about a muddy pocket.
Well, wait a minute, okay? I will say that when they were at their healthiest and speediest, he was going 1, 2, 3 through the reads. What's happening now with Waddle as the only option, okay? An assortment of tight ends you've never heard of and don't want on the field. With Waddle as the only option, what it is Waddle's my first read. I don't want to go to Washington, any Washington. I'm going check down. I'm going immediately check down. I'm going to the bubble screen.
You know how most home security systems wait until after something bad happens? Just like a goalie just standing there until the puck's already in the net. That's reactive. Simply Safe, on the other hand, well, that's Sergei Bobrovsky in net. It's proactive protection. The new Active Guard outdoor protection uses AI-powered cameras and real monitoring agents who spot trouble before it happens. If someone's lurking around, they'll talk to them, hit the lights, sound the alarm, even call the cops, all before anything gets through. That's a shutout level defense. No contracts, no hidden fees, and named Best Home Security System by U.S. News & World Report 5 years running. I've got Simply Safe at the house, and let's just say, nothing is getting past it. Right now, our listeners get exclusive early access to Simply Safe's Black Friday sale. Save 60% on any new system. This is the biggest deal of the year, so don't wait. Go to simplysafe.com/DLB. Again, that's simplysafe.com/DLB. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
What does Zyn give you? Not just smoke-free nicotine satisfaction, but real freedom. Freedom to do what you love and choose your rewards. With Zyn Rewards, you can redeem points for premium tech, outdoor gear, and gift cards to your favorite retailers. Find your Zyn and keep finding rewards that fit your lifestyle at zyn.com/rewards. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
The holidays really stress me out. I try to be a really good gift giver. And when you get toward this time of year, you keep thinking, oh, I have enough time. And overall, really, the holidays are stressful, but especially if you run a business. I see what you guys go through. It's like 1 minute you're planning a sale, next minute your website's crashing, your inventory's off, and someone's DMing you a discount code that expired in 2022. It's total chaos. That's why you need Shopify. It takes that holiday madness and turns it into... Shopify powers millions of businesses. We're talking everyone from Mattel and Gymshark to the folks just getting started this Black Friday. You don't have to be a tech genius either. Shopify's got thousands of ready-made templates, AI tools that write your product descriptions, even polish your photos, and built-in marketing tools to cut through the holiday noise. And that purple Shop Pay button, that's the secret sauce. This Black Friday, join the thousands of new entrepreneurs hearing for the first time with Shopify. Sign up for your free trial today at shopify.com/Batard. That's shopify.com/Batard, Batard. Go to shopify.com/Batard and make this Black Friday one to remember.
Don Le Batard.
All right, we got to go back out there. That was big. Wake him up.
He doesn't want to be bothered anymore. Now it's getting tense because he didn't need that as a result. He needs something that happens.
You can see him mother effing.
No, he says,
"Can we bother? Are we bothering you right now?"
Turn on your microphone, Greg.
My microphone's on.
Stugotz.
Paint the scene.
Paint the scene is I got to go to work. Good night.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
But since you mentioned Dan Marino, and I can't believe that Zaz is saying that Tua is less mobile than Dan Marino.
Can't believe I'm right.
I can't believe that you're saying he's less mobile than Bernie Kosar. Bernie Kosar now. I can't believe that you're saying that Tua is lacking that kind of mobility. I think it's an exaggeration. But when you talk about Dan Marino, they brought him out in Madrid. And
did they?
He has some trouble with the chant. Chris Cote is alleging that Dan Marino has never done or heard a simple "Let's go Dolphins." Let's go Dolphins. Let's go
Good on the crowd. They stayed with him, but it's just so awkward.
The ones who weren't booing.
Kind of like when he did the drum at the Panther. He's just odd.
Well, he's bad in public.
He does not lead the league in public appearances. There was a shot of him next to Zach Thomas doing the whole ceremonial coin flip thing. He looked like he wanted to be anywhere on the face of the earth besides where he was.
You guys are saying the crowd was good. That's a crowd that doesn't speak English.
And that's just the fans that travel.
Maybe he figures the "Let's Go Dolphins" chant is kind of outdated. He's trying to switch it up a little bit.
Let's go Dolphins. That's
triggering.
It feels a bit death metal-y.
Like haunting.
It is.
Like in my dreams, I'm like, where is he? Where's Dan Marino? I smell him though.
It does give me a little bit of anxiety hearing him do that because that's not the way that it's supposed to go. And it reminded me of another South Florida legend trying to do a chant that left me feeling some type of way. Bobby.
Bobby.
That's Barkov trying to celebrate Bobrovsky.
Bobby.
All right, pair them together. Let's see who's worse.
What's wrong with people, Dan?
Haunting is a good.
Dan, think about this for a second. Okay, you're at the Pirates of the Caribbean. It's dark. All of a sudden, this echoes from the pirate ship.
That's going to be pillaging.
It does
the
sound like
fog
pirates.
rolls in. You're like, where am I?
That's a great astute observation.
That is absolutely in Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein behind the ship when he's coming out of the sea.
It's haunting.
Victor!
It is frightening.
Bobby! Victor! Bobby! Victor! Bobby!
See, Barkov's is not haunting. Barkov's makes me happy. It's playful.
Bobby!
It's the way that you're in a bounce house with children and you chase them around.
Bobby! Bobby!
What's wrong with these guys, man? At least Barkov, this is not his first language.
Bobby!
I mean, if you've heard Dan Marino in front of microphones, like, it wouldn't feel like his first language. One of the great surprises of my entire lifetime is as long as Dan Marino lasted on that CBS pregame show, because they hired him in the first place, and he spent how many years doing that, because he was always notoriously bad talking in front of people, hated doing it, and was boring on purpose.
And yet he was a great quarterback, so we never criticized that, where we're criticized Tua about everything, so we criticize him for everything, for mentioning Jesus, for making jokes that don't work, for not being as glib and as eloquent as we want.
No one here is criticizing him for mentioning Jesus.
Where'd that come from?
We were criticizing
I don't
him
think he
for
mentioned
putting,
Jesus at
for
all.
putting Jerusalem putting a football game in Jerusalem and in Europe. That's what.
Well, let me just
Hawaii
say,
as well.
I need to defend Tua here. Okay, I'm the only one who's going to do it.
Feel free to do so in front of the microphone.
I hate to always be the VOR, but if you're looking for reasons to criticize Tua after yesterday's game, you're looking for reasons to criticize Tua. He's been pretty terrible this year. Led the league in interceptions with 13. He had a clean game. He played an efficient game. You know what he recognized? You know what the game plan recognized? Devon Achane is the best player on the field, other than Jordan Brooks on defense, who had 20 tackles. Another reason why you trust your defense with a 16-13 lead late in the game.
Greg, I don't trust that defense. Like, I really don't understand what you're doing with that defense. That defense has not been trustworthy. Like, you can say they've been decent the last few games, but that's not a trustworthy defense. And what Zaslow's saying late in that game, you have noticed this change, right, with the kickoffs. If they start at their 35-yard line, they get one first down, all of a sudden you're kicking a 57-yard field goal, because every game in the sport has a 57-yard field goal. I've got one of the strangest things to watch in football in terms of the evolution is the number of teams that get inside of 60 yards and then just hand the ball off up the middle because they feel good about where they are on the field inside of a 60-yard field goal, even if that is something in my lifetime. Anything beyond 50 yards in my lifetime outside of the last 5 years has been a field goal that you don't want to be taking. Now it's a totally normal thing for kickers all over the league to be making 50-yard field goals.
Yeah, you know who's behind me in advocating my opinion? 99.9% of all NFL head coaches over the last quarter century. There's just no excuse.
No, but the game's changed over 25 years.
The game is no different than it was 3 years ago or 5 years ago.
But then don't use a 25 years as
No, but Greg,
number.
it is different. I gave the stat last week that the Bears and Giants went for it on fourth down 5 times in the first half. It's totally different.
It's totally different.
All of these teams are going for it all over the place on fourth and short. Nobody anymore doesn't go for it on fourth and short. There's not a coach in the league that you think of as Dave Wanstead, notoriously scared on fourth and short.
I agree, but again, you have to think situationally. One of the exceptions is fourth on a long 2. When you have a you have a 1-foot putt for what should be a winning field goal. You take those points in a game where points are tough to come by.
By the way, when we're talking about trusting your defense in that spot, give them a 3-point lead, trust the defense at the end. They didn't get the conversion, and the defense then literally allowed 60 yards with the opportunity to kick the game-winning field goal. Like, you want them to trust the defense there, and the defense gave it up, like, in a major way. Now, granted, it's benefit of hindsight, but still, like, they gave it up still.
Let me throw another something at you. How about a modern twist on a doorbell where Amazon driver gets there, walks up to your door, and you hear this?
Let's go, Dolphins. Does kind of have the sing-songy.
I would have a different
cadence.
one. I would have a different doorbell, though.
Bobby.
Ooh, that one is nice.
That's when they hold it a little bit longer. You know what I mean? Instead of like a quick one.
Bobby.
Let's conjure other situations where you might be scared. You've come down the stairs at midnight because you've heard a bump in the house. It is. Wait, that's also scary in that situation.
It's the Halloween version.
Wait, that became decidedly less happy. All of a sudden, now I've got a crazy stranger. No, that's not the one I was looking for, though. I've come down the stairs the way Tony does when something in his garage falls off of the wall. Let's go, Dolphins. Haunting is the exact way to describe that.
Gravelly.
It is. It also doesn't sound at all like Dan Marino. If I didn't give you any context and said, hey, who is this? It would take you 1,000 guesses before any of you said it would be Dan Marino. But let's switch subjects here because I too am tired of talking about an epically bad football game that now puts the Miami Dolphins more in the playoff hunt than they were at 4-7.
Was that Ed Orgeron?
Let's go. It sounds like a thick man. Like if I asked you, if I didn't tell you anything and said, describe this person visually, you're saying this person is more square than stick. Let's go, Dolphins.
Real quick, want to talk to you about how Game Time is the official ticketing partner of the Dan Batard Show. Grateful that Game Time has been on with us as long as they have because I use this product all the time. I travel for football. If I'm in a new city, I like to see what concerts are in town. One of the very first things I check is my favorite app for the secondary ticket market, the Game Time app. Why? Because it gives me zone deals, favorites, panoramic seat views, most importantly, the lowest price guarantee. Because if Game Time does not have the lowest price for you, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. I've lived it, folks. I've been at a place where I saw cheaper tickets. They credited me. It's legit. Game Time ticket coverage means your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. Folks, the leaves are turning. The weather's getting a little chillier. That means the football games are more important. That means football time should be Miller time. Game day hits different with a Miller Lite in your hand. From jaw-dropping touchdowns to fantasy heartbreaks. My fantasy season's over already, but you know what makes that better? Miller time! It's the beer that's been there for every moment. 50 years of great taste, simple ingredients, and an iconic golden color you can spot from across the room. And here's the kicker, it's just 96 calories, 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. The original light beer since 1975 and still hitting different 5 decades later. So whatever your game day looks like, remember Miller time is always a good time. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Folks, fuel your game day with the unbeatable crunch of Hampton Farms, the official peanut of bowl season. Perfect for sharing with friends, tailgating outside the stadium, or cheering from the couch. Grab a bag from the produce aisle of your local grocery store and savor the game one peanut at a time. Let's get nutty.
Dan Batard. Football. Football.
Football.
Football. Football.
Football.
Football. Stugotz. This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz.
This is a headline from The Athletic, and I say it only to enrage Mike Ryan. Notre Dame closing in. Miami shut out? ?
Yeah, this is bullshit. It's bullshit. And the charmed existence of a Notre Dame fan right now is insane to me. Okay, Miami's doing what the committee asked, be more consistent, look better on offense. For all the talk about offense, Miami's offense is a lot better than some of the teams that surround them. In fact, Miami, I think statistically right now, is in line to have its second best offense over the last 20 years. Miami looked thoroughly dominant on Saturday. You could say that's who Miami is. Yeah. They had a midseason hiccup. That's who Miami is. They're closing the season in style. NC State didn't cross the 50 until the fourth quarter.
And they have a good offense.
Yes, the ACC's leading rusher had -2 yards
and
against
NC State
Miami.
beat Georgia Tech last week.
Yes, and they beat Georgia Tech and Virginia.
Yeah.
North Carolina State had been the ACC killer.
They beat Georgia Tech 2 weeks ago. That was NC State coming off a bye. NC State's got talent on offense. I like their quarterback. Their quarterback does have a live arm. He looked like he was floating balls because Miami's defense was playing that fast. Miami's defense is unbelievable. But I realized this is bullshit over the weekend. Why am I living and dying watching Clemson run fullback dives, fumbling at the goal line twice, not enjoying my Friday night? Well, Notre Dame just gets to beat up on Navy and Pitt, with coaches saying, this game doesn't matter. What are we really going to entertain this? Are we really going to take this down the line? I know what you're doing. You're putting Vanderbilt there. You're putting Utah there ahead of Miami. BYU I'm fine with for now. You're putting them there so you don't have them bunched up together, so you don't actually have to have this conversation about a head-to-head matchup. Let's put that to the side.
Well, we'll see tomorrow night the rankings come out.
Everyone's talking about how Notre Dame is a bona fide playoff team. No doubt about it. No discourse about it. Miami's the exact same way. If Miami gets shut out, Notre Dame better be shut out because head-to-head has to matter. Why would anybody schedule a non-conference opponent of any consequence if you're not going to get credit for when you beat that team directly?
Well, but I don't blame you. Even though Navy beat my beloved South Florida Bulls, I don't blame you for being upset about part of this, but you can't wave around a victory over NC State, which has 5 wins, one of them over Campbell, and then just dismiss the way Notre Dame beat Pitt, because that's a game, that's the scariest game left on Miami's regular season schedule is right. Pitt. Yeah. So you can't just can't just dismiss Pitt while praising NC State.
I'm not dismissing it. I'm contextualizing it by saying the coach, quote, I'd be glad if we lose 110-3. Contextualizing it. And they came out flat, and they came out like they didn't give a shit about that game because it doesn't actually matter when it comes to Pitt's season. And that's the benefit of not having to play in a conference for Notre Dame. Notre Dame is a good team. I believe Notre Dame deserves to be in the college football playoff. Don't get it twisted. Notre Dame is good. Miami beat that very good team. If Notre Dame is in the playoffs, Miami better be in the playoffs too, ahead of Notre Dame too. This isn't, just come in here. Miami should be ranked ahead of Notre Dame because they both played.
I'd be almost willing to guarantee you that if Miami wins the rest of its games, it will get into the postseason just because this college football season is so batshit insane where everyone is losing. And I look up at halftime on Saturday and can't believe that Texas A&M is down 30-3 at home to South Carolina.
I hear you. I think that there's 2 weeks left in November, notoriously crazy for college football. Miami might get the help. Hell, it might get the help it needs in its own conference. And that would go a long way to helping Miami's chances. What I'm saying is that concept right there is bullshit. Miami shouldn't be in the discussion right now as needing help. That should be a conversation for Notre Dame. Notre Dame should be the team that is chasing Miami. This whole charmed existence of not having to sweat over this final month of the season when you're the guys that lost here. In a game that Miami controlled. In a game that looked a lot closer than it should have.
Okay, I feel like what you're doing here is a little bit like when the NBA All-Stars are released, and you're like, this guy should be an All-Star, all right? But you're not giving us who shouldn't be an All-Star, whose place he should take. So you think Notre Dame is a playoff team, and you also think Miami is because you think Miami should be above them. Okay, who that's in the picture right now should be out then?
Well, the teams that are directly ahead of Miami.
Because you're good with BYU, you said.
I'm good with BYU. They have a tough game against Cincinnati. Okay. BYU has an opportunity to lose another game here, and then that's a different discussion. But
so
who
should Miami be ahead of then?
They should be ahead of Utah, and they should be ahead of Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt somehow climbed on a bye week in the AP rankings.
That's fine. So then Miami, you think, should be 12, which still has them out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I understand. Within striking distance, and then you have 2 games to win in style and show the committee that you are indeed a playoff team. And if you're 12, then you're closer to Notre Dame, and then Notre Dame should be the one that's sweating it on the final weekend of the season. Because Miami beat Notre Dame. Miami scheduled Notre Dame. Miami beat Notre Dame. I shouldn't be sweating like this. I am a madman. I am not enjoying myself right now. And I should be enjoying myself because a couple of weeks ago, we beat their ass at the line of scrimmage. We dominated that game. We controlled that game, and we got a victory. A victory should matter. Don't come to me and say, well, look at what Notre Dame looks like right now. If those 2 teams played, who would be favored? I don't know. My guess is Notre Dame. Guess who was favored the last time they played? Notre Dame. What happened? Miami controlled the game.
Took that ass.
I agree that if the Canes win out and finish 10-2, they're going to make the CFP, I think, and should. But let's not lose.
You guys sound like homers, though. I'm not the homer. Like, do you guys know the national narrative? Do you guys know the odds?
I've heard the odds.
Yeah, like you're talking about how we're going to be in the CFP if we win out.
Right.
I listen to all these national podcasts. We're an afterthought.
Right.
Alabama's in good shape. Kirk Herbstreit went on television and said a 3-loss Texas should be in consideration for an at-large. A 3-loss Texas that lost to Florida that we dominated.
Okay, but let's not lose track of the fact that did this to itself. At one point, they're 5-0 and number 2 in the country. They lose a game that they shouldn't have lost to Louisville, which wasn't even that close. It wasn't as close as the final score. They got spanked.
I think the SMU game is worse.
Okay,
you're always going to lose a game.
Losses.
You're not going to go undefeated. Yes, I hear you. Miami's lost 2 games on the last play of the game.
And at least SMU's a road game.
We're really going to go 21-4 over the last 2 years and not have a playoff to show for it. This is insane to me.
I have a way for you to enjoy yourself, though. I'm going to tickle you some. You say you're not enjoying yourself. How about some of this?
Bobby. It does help. Bobby. It does. I know
Bobby.
Look, I still am worried about Miami going 2-0. But, let that be the gambit. Miami has to go 2-0 here. Miami doesn't handle business in November. It's why last year they missed the college football playoff. But I listen to what the committee says. I listen to what the committee says Miami needs to do. And Miami has done that for the last 2 weeks. This looks like a different Miami team. On offense, they look dynamic. They don't look predictable anymore. It's a damn shame if we look back on the season and say the staff got in its own way because the fan base was screaming about how obvious your tendencies were, and SMU won a game that they shouldn't have beat you in.
Oklahoma winning this weekend really hurts.
Oklahoma has a good.
That really hurts.
Oklahoma has a good resume. It
no, but it could have been over for them. They would have been done, and instead they're going to get in.
They got so outplayed in that game.
It takes a spot from the game.
I can't believe Oklahoma won that game.
Here's another thing that bothers me. I understand Alabama's reputation and Miami's reputation. They have a common opponent. It went totally different ways. We want to talk good losses, bad losses, quality wins. FSU got embarrassed. FSU embarrassed Alabama. Miami played FSU. That is a bottom feeder in the ACC. That, for all the SEC narrative that we have there, why doesn't that stick? Alabama lost.
Well, first game of the season.
Miami was the first game.
You know the answer to your question, though. There are going to be 6 SEC teams in the tournament, no matter how bad the SEC is.
But that's bullshit. It's bullshit. Like, they're beating each other up, and they're getting credit for depth, where Miami doesn't get credit for depth, even though the SMU team that they played has only lost 1 regular season conference game since joining the conference. The Louisville loss, these are not bad teams. Notre Dame played Louisville last year. Notre Dame was in a 1-score game at home against Louisville last year. Notre Dame and several CFP teams could go to SMU and not win that game. These are not bad losses. They're bad losses in that Miami kind of beat themselves in it, and that's really frustrating. But if for all this, it's not how you start, it's how you finish talk, well, Miami's on halfway to finishing pretty damn good. Right. Because that team on Saturday looks like it definitely deserves to be in the field. Definitely.
Right, but if they're going to finish 11-1 instead of 10-2, we're not even having this conversation.
I can't reverse the loss. I can provide context and say Miami has done everything that it needs to do,
except win 1 additional game.
It is nonsense that we have to have this conversation, and I have to fight for my life and find the propaganda when Notre Dame lost to Miami. They're sitting at the same exact record, and they don't have these conversations. Every talking head is like, yeah, total playoff team right there. Notre Dame,
it's just because their 2 losses are to Texas A&M and Miami by 4 points.
But that matters. But you said their losses are to Texas A&M and Miami. Miami played them head-to-head. Mm-hmm. They beat them.
Yeah, but they're less worse losses. Less worse.
What are you talking about?
They are less worse losses.
How is it not a terrible loss when you're in direct comparison to another team in the CFP? If you lose to that team, that's a bad loss.
Losing by Mike, there's no dispute to what I'm about to say, which is losing to Texas A&M and Miami by 4 points is more impressive than losing to SMU and Louisville by more than that.
Yeah, by 3 more points than that. Miami's lost on the last
Even if
play
it were the
twice.
same amount of points, it's still more impressive.
Okay, but
Bobby.
We're going to keep tickling you.
you're
I've
gonna
got
keep
some other
talking
things.
about how
upset.
their
I'm trying
loss
to
to
help him.
Miami looks good, and you're just totally bypassing the loss to Miami.
I'm going to try and cheer you up. How about Ed Orgeron as a pirate in AI haunting you with Dan Marino's chanting? Tell me
That works.
That's pretty good right there.
That
Ed
works.
Orgeron
I see
as
the
a
old
pirate.
galleon in the back, Dano.
And now, in order to cheer you up, I'm going to pull out the best card I've got. I've been working on it for an entire week. Yes, me and ChatGPT. It is the Dolphins logo replaced by an old man's ass.
Oh, now that's an old man's ass.
That's an old man's ass.
Is that Greg Cote's?
I would not have known that. My ass is better.
That's a
looking than
ball
that,
sack,
believe me.
guys.
That better not be what I
It's
look
not an
like.
ass.
It looks like a brain.
That is a
It does.
ball sack.
I thought it was a brain.
The Miami Dolphins should name their team the Miami Ass and change their logo to an ass. Not a nice ass, like an old man's ass.
I worked on that all weekend, and I appreciate
More wrinkles.
that you guys are
Sending it
saying
back.
No one said these
Didn't
look like a pair of
Dolphins
testicles. No one said you add more wrinkles. It looks like
Horrible
a
ass.
ball sack. No one said that.
I was working on it very hard all weekend.
Let's see the original. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That is not what we want right there.
Could have used more
What we-
wrinkles.
what we want.
That's what mine looks like.
Hey, yo.
That is not what your
Yeah.
ass look.
Dude, good for you.
Thanks, man.
Zaslow. I'm assuming that when you walk nude through your house, that wearing sneakers or flip flops, that is not what your ass.
I bet it looks
like.
more like the nice one than the old one.
Dan nailed it, though. That is how I walk through my house, naked, but just with my sneakers on.
Yes, Zaslow.
Look how pleased he is with himself.
It had to be said. It had to be said.
Good one. Never heard it.
Thank you.
Have you been hearing that one since childhood? We've got Nick Wright up next. He's got to be hurting. The Chiefs have a worse record.
Oh, he's got to be hurting?
The Chiefs,
Jeremy embarrassed us
the
yesterday.
Chiefs have a worse record than the Carolina Panthers, whose season is over, by the way, as I've been saying all
the second
season.
time.
Bryce Young threw for 448 yards yesterday, left the field twice in a way that I thought he had career-ending injury. Like twice left the field, comes back out. What a group of losers they have in Atlanta, man. Like it must stink to be a Falcons fan. Bryce Young twice left that football game. One of them on 4th and short. He trips taking the snap, falls down, and I thought tore his hamstring while sliding backward trying to get off the ground. Comes back in the game, throws for 448 yards. And if not for Jacoby Brissett breaking the record for completions in a game, I would have said that's the best game I've ever seen a bad quarterback play.
Now's a good time to remember where tequila's story truly began. In 1795, Cuervo invented tequila.
Cuervo.
What are you doing here?
Cuervo. Anytime someone says Cuervo, I show up.
Well, I do know that to be true, but even during ad reads, like
Cuervo.
I think you could lay out, especially for one of our great partners.
Sweet, delicious Cuervo.
Since then, Cuervo has stayed true to its roots. The same family, the same land, the same passion.
Cuervo.
So, enjoy the tequila that started it all. Cuervo.
Cuervo.
The tequila that invented tequila. Proximo. Cuervo.com. Please drink responsibly.